June the 7th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, nuclear proctologist.org, and we are going to talk about a number of subjects tonight, and the main one being the Pacific Ocean. But we're going to start off the show with Unit 4, and Miss Milky the Clown put up a video of Unit 4 a few days ago. So I want you to look at the bottom of the building, the first two floors, and before we show the video. And so, do you think anything inside of that is going to be normal? Do you think you can just waltz through the building, no big deal? Or do you think you're going to have to crawl through it and weave around everything, and it's going to be just chaos? Okay, so if you believe the latter, that is going to be fine, rather. Here's the official video, apparently, of the interior of Unit 4. And let me zoom back. So the cabinet minister had went through the building. So let's explore that for a few seconds. Unit 4. I just showed you a picture of it. You can zoom back to the picture of it if you want any time while that's playing. Okay, so they don't show you him going into Unit 4 for starters, but what apparently is outside of Unit 4. And you can see they got big sheets of steel or lead or something laid down there to protect people so they can walk on it. Now apparently they're inside of Unit 4. Now, when you take it into comparison of what Unit 4 actually looks like, have a good look at that. Think about what you're looking at. Think about how destroyed it is. Think about how much damage there is underneath it. Okay. Let's come back to Unit 4. Because it doesn't add up, it doesn't match up. This is the second floor of the Reactor 4 building. Once again, the second floor is right below the surface there. And once again, you can see the carnage. Yeah, you see the devastation hanging out of it. And so I find it very suspect that on the interior, it's nice and organized, and everything is clean, and you can walk around with no headaches. There's no debris anywhere to be seen. And so I'm not buying into the video at all. I'm not able to buy into that. Especially when you look at the documentation of what it really looks like compared to what they're showing you. Look how nice everything is. All things considered, that's a normal building, except they're all dressed up in radiation suits that can't protect you from X-rays or neutrons or gamma bursts. So look how nice and intact the second floor of Unit 4 underneath is. But have a look at Unit 4 and you tell me these are the same buildings or not. Look at all the guts hanging out. How can you have perfect hallways in a building with the guts hanging out? I'm confused. So everything is beautiful up underneath it, but on the outside it's completely looking destroyed. Nothing's torn apart, nothing's blown apart, there's no debris to climb over like it would be if I was trying to crawl into this building. That's exactly what you would be doing. You'd be crawling and weaving and ducking and terrified you're going to tear your suit apart. But you also would have X-rays and neutrons and gamma rays everywhere melting your organs. And those little plastic paper suits or whatever they're using is not going to protect you from gamma, X-ray, or neutrons. So it's highly suspect that the people went in there are the people they claim they are. And it's very suspect that this is anything to do with the actual pictures of the building. They don't add up. And they don't show you going into the building. And so I don't see why I should believe that video. There's nothing wrong with posting the video, but be very cautious of looking at the documentation and consider always going and looking at the building and making up your own mind. Is that possible? No. I can't come up with a reasonable way of saying that these are the same buildings. It's impossible for me to... Now they're right under the bottom of spent fuel pool number 4. And they're touching walls. Oh, look, I'm touching a wall. See, that don't make any sense. If you're touching anything in there, you're dying. It don't make any sense. You're dead in a few minutes if you're in that pile in there, because that's where all the rods melted down and the core is gone out of there, etc., etc., etc. Let's move on. So headlines. We've got a huge amount of headlines. Make sure that's dead. Okay. Japan government in chaos, completely out of control at Fukushima. Melted reactor core, so I got to look at that screen over here. I got a screen there to watch and do everything I'm doing in the screen over here. Let me just clean up the green screen section a little tiny bit. Close enough. That's a bit better. Not a little weird. Radiation limits too high after Fukushima. Japan allows 20 times more cesium in the drinking water. 20 times more than we'll get in Chernobyl. Unprecedented phenomenon from using salt water. This is these buckyballs, carbon buckyballs, are really something else. This is nuclear bombs. Every minute they're pouring that water on it because of the sulfur peroxide hydrogen buckyball effect. It's ingesting the atoms from the radioactive material to thousands of atoms. Iodine and cesium are tracers. Whenever you see that, you'll understand what I'm talking about in a minute. Japan government prepares plan to flee Tokyo. August 10th. Japan unveiled plans. November 3rd is another one. Backup city 300 miles west of Tokyo. Room for 200,000 staffs. Right, and the reason they said that is because they understood what the fable really... It was a fable they were feeding everybody. And that Geiger counter, by the way, in the corner, I'll give it a little tap. You can see that's an actual live Geiger counter. Let me zoom back. I slept all day yesterday, so hot, 30 odd degrees here. Just brutal. Worn out. I really am horrified the feds abandoned Fukushima radiation monitoring. Why would they do that, I wonder? Nuclear fallout will engulf Taiwan starting April the 6th. People should stay home. Canada didn't tell the people that, see? America didn't bother telling them. They turned all the Geiger counters off that we paid for. We gave them the money to monitor the authority and to warn us, and instead they turned it all off. But Taiwan didn't. New York Times, 181 times above drinking water. Iodine 131 is just a tracer. And we know for 2 years that massive amounts of water. Massive amounts of water. I just got to adjust my camera a little touch. Sorry for the inconveniences. Not much I can do about it. I'm going to do that again. So officials are unable to explain why they kept it secret. I can explain for you, and I won't have to really. They're coming up. We got a really good bunch of headlines, documentation coming up. Discharges of Fukushima nuclear material in the Pacific have effectively contaminated the sea, and the melted reactors will burn the minute you stop pouring water on it. So you have to do this like a perpetual motion machine till the end of time. That's why they're dumping everything off the site, so they can keep the site, see? And they propose dumping it into the ocean. They're already doing it. They're just not telling you. They're burning it in the incinerators. They're dumping it in the lakes, the rivers, the estuaries, the streams, and directly into the ocean. And they have been for 5 years. They got 30 million one-ton bags on top of that. TEPCO made Fukushima plant a machine for generating radioactive water. And the runoff from the molten atomic core is now in the groundwater in the ocean. Air cooling should be used. It's still in chain reaction, still fission going on underneath those reactors. See, they're sunk down into the earth. They can once it went into a chain reaction, the containment can't contain it anymore. It's just a fable. The containment can contain it. Completely beyond comprehension how huge the contamination of the ocean will be. Fukushima radioactive material poured in the landfills to enter the sea is spread in the whole world. Fukushima reactor cores melted right down into the ground. That's radioactive materials getting washed directly into the Pacific Ocean. Constantly. This is out of control. Japan is out of control. Watch Japan officials issue radioactive alert, and the radioactive discharge is out of control. Contamination. They use these words like seeping and leaking and bleeding into the ocean. It's the most deceptive word game imaginable. The people that are saying it are educated and know better. And so this was just the mantra the whole time. U.S. newspaper reported a link between birth defects and eating radioactive contamination because you're delivering hundreds of x-rays. It never stops pulsing through your body. It's like a taser, but you can't feel it. But it's wrecking your body Tell you, decades before the cancer shows up. Cancer is the last one to show up. Everything else shows up before cancer. Shocking Hanford radiation experiment. This is the industry is out of control its whole existence. 65 scientists at Hanford used prisoners. Volunteer prisoners asked to lie face down. They put their legs in the stirrups and their testes were dropped in a plastic box of water which were zapped by x-rays. It's disturbing. More history of Hanford. Muskrats undermine one of Hanford's sewage, causing 60 million litres. And etc., etc., etc. Hanford was a nightmare, but it's not like a melted reactor. It's terrible, it's horrible, it's unimaginable, it needs to be dealt with. You would bankrupt America just to clean up Hanford. But it's green and clean and too cheap to meter, right? Carbon free. You bankrupt the country to clean up what you created just at Hanford. 23% of higher incidence of leukemia is within 16 kilometers of facility, 2012 January. 90% higher incidence of childhood leukemia around nuclear power plants, call for an investigation. Double, another study, talking about, not another study, same study, French nuclear plants. Nuclear plants to ill health increasing, compelling. So, think about the transport of the ocean, how that actually works. Think about how the power plants are right on the ocean, not like Chernobyl, where they're 600 kilometers away from the ocean. And fair marine life is being poisoned. 2013. Oh yeah, baby. Because, when you see it coming out, these models are not only based upon 2 days releases from a single reactor, not based upon the actual releases. They're based upon, most of them are based upon releases from that reactor. They're not based upon the releases from that one. This one is completely missing. Think of the design of the buildings. Fuel pools on the roof. The roofs are gone. Same thing with this one. That's in Unit 4. You can think about how much that one is gone, right? But the model's only based upon just short releases that were man releases. But you couldn't release it because the tsunami ran through 400 kilometers of the coastline, etc. Model simulation, long-term dispersal of fallout. The modeling and stuff like this is real. But they don't take into consideration the melted reactors or the fuel pools, reactor cores that are on the roof that are gone also. Fukushima model pollution hit the U.S. in 2015, but the ocean current gets here in 45 days. But the model is only based up on a couple of days releases from a single reactor. They're only based up on 2 isotopes that are actually only tracers. And if the tracers are here, are going to come here, then all the other isotopes are going to come too. You've got to understand that. You've got to talk about that. You always got to use the word tracer. Every time you hear the word iodine, if you're in the comment section, put down it's a tracer. People will figure it out. Fukushima Daiichi has contaminated the biggest body of water on the planet. They really have. After 180 hours, look at it. That's the jet stream, right? But radioactive leak to harm marine and ocean life, human life, whole Pacific Ocean likely to have cesium levels. Now, this is only based up on modeling. It's not based up on the actual releases of the actual reactors, the actual inventories, the actual accident itself, or the actual event is a better word to call it. Not an accident. It's an event. The long past being an accident. Now it's an event. So look at the plume based up on just the ninny and stuff, just the tracers, not based up on the actual documentation, the information. Nobody's ever come out and based it up on the melted reactors, even though they admit now it's melted reactors. When they made these models, they didn't admit that, see? Pricks. Lethal threat from Fukushima, highly radioactive water flowing in the Pacific Ocean. Because the people who made the model knew better. Watch it now, they didn't get all upset. A threat to life, I'll calm down. Fukushima how can you not get upset? But highly radioactive water flowing in the Pacific Ocean. You can get upset on the other side. I can't get upset on this side. Dennis influencing everybody by being upset about the ocean being killed. Oh, Dennis, don't hurt the ocean. What about all the stuff I'm showing you, though? Why not put that in the context? Because you can't take that away. Say what I do. You can't disregard what I'm talking about. You can't ignore all the information, documentation I show you. But you can, but that means you're an idiot. It's threat to life, period. No, Dana, it's just radiation, Dana. You're surrounded by radiation, Dana. I'd choke you to death if I ever got my hands on you. Authority on the U.S. West Coast concerned with stunning news from Fukushima. Radioactive water poured out every day. There you go. That's a good one. Not leaking, not bleeding. But it should be like hemorrhaging, or pouring is a good word. I'll live with pouring. So the Pacific Ocean at 5 miles per hour, the corrosion current, will do that in 45 days. The jet streams are picking up and dropping it all the time immediately. Within 3 or 4 days, there was a plume across the ocean, across the continent, across the Atlantic, and across Europe within 7 days. Radioactive water reached 3,200 kilometers 6 months ago. These are just the eluding. Think about Noah's model. That was hid away for several years, right? Just using cesium, which is a tracer. Fukushima ocean plume hit Canada 6 months ago. Look, it hit Canada in 4 days. There's 220 million becquerels of iodine-129 with a 15 million year half-life from a chain reaction. Ionizes and radiates your thyroid gland 9 times more effective than iodine-131. But cesium also does the same thing, and all the other isotopes with those properties that sequesters in your muscles and your organs, right, will aggregate in this thyroid gland. TEPCO calls the contaminated material low radioactive water from Central Treatment Facility. See, the lie is unbelievable. Oh, we got a treatment facility. What are you, insane? At the bottom of the reactor cores, where they melted down into Earth, you got a treatment facility. You can't make it up. But they do. IAEA expert predicts radioactive cesium will carry across the Pacific to the west coast of the U.S. and Canada in 2 years. It was crossed in 3 days. There was a stream, the snowstorm, invisible snowstorm across the Pacific, across Canada, across North America, across the Atlantic, and it never stopped coming out of there. And they've never told you about the actual inventories, the significance, and the quantities and qualities. So the modeling based upon just the Nini isotopes. Highest level of Fukushima contamination plankton already east of Hawaii, May 21st, 2013. Phytoplankton is pretty well wiped out now. So if you've got a bucket of phytoplankton, you get 75 to 100 million in a glass of water. Yeah? And a billion other creatures. If there's a single isotope in there, it's pounding everything in the glass. Every second, 1,440 minutes a day, 365 days a year. So every second is pulsing through everything. Like a phytoplankton is a single cell. It pops out like a popcorn. And they tell you that it's because they gathered it up as it was dying off, and it's deceptive. That's the way I see it. I can't understand how a single cell animal, when it gets in your body, it wrecks the single cell. That's why we use chemotherapy. And that's murder. Take all your loved ones to the hospital when they get sick and give them chemo. You take nuclear waste and you inject it into your loved one. You think they're going to get better. 2% survive it. That's the history of nuclear. Every dog it was ever given to died, so why should humans be any different? They've never cured it with the chemotherapy in their friggin' entire life. Models are just incredible. Fukushima radioactive plume continue to hit the shores of Canada till the very end of time, till long past the human experience. Well, virtually impossible to stop it from there. These models are only based upon a couple of days' releases, not based upon on the actual inventories or the actual reactors. After we left Japan, it felt as if nothing in the ocean. The ocean itself was dead. Nothing alive for 3,000 miles. I went out and done the whole coastline of British Columbia, Canada, 260 days, 15,000 miles, and that's up at the nuclear proctologist documented. An extinction event. Fukushima marine radiation possible culprit. Yeah, no kidding. And everything else. The death of the Pacific is underway in second gear. Interesting fact for the West Coast and UN report, 95% of the Fukushima discharge transported in the Pacific. See, straight over. It whisked it right away from the coastline of Japan, and then, not all of it, but the majority of it, and then rain clouds are picking it up and bringing it across the ocean all day, every day. On top of that, it's discharging into the atmosphere and into the ocean. That'll never stop. They can't get into Chernobyl. They can't get into Japan. The videos and the pictures they show you are the homeless and the destitute, and they are long since dead. That's all the people they send there. Harvard's not there, Yale's not there, MIT's not there, Stanford's not there, Oxford's not there, the Commonwealth institutions are not there. They all went to Chernobyl. None of them went to Fukushima. Why, with nuclear fuel coming up from the ocean floor, because the rods blew right out of the building. Right, these buildings were completely destroyed. Fuel rods were on the roof of the buildings. Now that one's still in, but it melted down, melted through in number 2, and it's all gone. They shot these murons through it, right? Put that Geiger counter back up so don't forget. But I mean, look at the building. Number 3. Look at number 3. So look at the building. That's the design of the building. Fuel pools are on the roof. I know that's not super high quality. Got to change that shot out. But look at it. There's no fuel pools and no roof because there's no roof. So all the reactors are gone there. When you look at number 4, that's the real perpetual lie, isn't it? Right? Oh yeah, out there and they're walking around. Okay, whatever. In your dreams. It's just disgusting anyway. The whole industry is just sick. Everybody who works for it, everybody involved in it are sick and demented and twisted and out of touch with any kind of emotion or compassion or empathy. They found a cure for apathy, but nobody cured it. Double Chernobyl, getting close to total fallout. Woohoo! Double Chernobyl. If only it was just double Chernobyl. All-time high radiation levels in the wells. Just the list goes on and on and on. Fukushima concentrates as it approaches. Gee, it came over in the jet streams immediately, never stopped coming. It inundated the entire country. There was 1 million becquerels per square meter. There was 220 million in a liter. In Canada and British Columbia. No, Dana's not here. No, Dana's all gone. No, Dana's only iodine with an 8-day half-life. No, Dana, the reactors are still intact. I mean, look at UVic, University of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. The spokespeople there were up on CBC December 2013 telling Canadians there was no melted reactors on the ocean. If there was, be a different story. What about all the stuff I'm showing you? Sea seeming to see likely to return to Japan 20, 30 years, but it never stopped coming out of there. It's already back there. Rain and everything else brought it right back. Cracked floors in Fukushima reactor leaking in the groundwater. It can no longer be stopped from getting in the ocean. Worse than that, buildings now on mushy land. They're perpetually dropping water on it. Ocean plume hit Canada 6 months ago. We already covered that one. Hang on, I'll find what I'm looking for. Boom. Highest contamination levels yet in seawater. Yeah, that's a nice headline. That's stupid. You believe that one? Up to 93 billion becquerels a day this, and blah, 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 that. 600 tons a day of groundwater in the ocean. This is stuff they're spraying on it. That's getting away. The reactors needed 1 million gallons a minute. And everybody's like, oh, there's 600 tons a day of water. No, I mean, they got pumps and pumps and more pumps and pumps and pumps and more pumps throughout that whole fucking site. The whole site underground is all fuel rods. They buried them over, plowed them over, and then come in, cemented everything, and put multiple layers of pavement on top of that because of the x-rays and the neutrons from the rods below. They're not expecting to ever operate the site again. Of course, they're just trying to hang on to the site because of the melted reactors, and they're running out of the homeless and the immigrants who don't speak the language. Blah. Fukushima contamination in the ocean reached Alaska in under a month. Under a month in the ocean. Under a month. But it's 45 days is my model at 5 miles an hour. Do your math. 5 hours a day. 5 miles an hour, 24 hours a day to corrosion current. That's the minimum. It's much faster than that for most of the ocean. No, Dana's never going to get here. The ocean's too big, it'll be diluted. Blah, blah, blah. Lie after 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 deception, after misrepresentation, after mass murdering. Pacific Ocean and everything on the coastline is now in desperation mode. Whatever's left. And there's not much left. We documented it. Period. Bar nothing. Think about it. I go down in the ocean every day and pick 20,000 sea urchins. And the opposition that comes in and attacks me has never even been on the ocean, never even worked on the ocean, don't even understand the friggin' ocean, don't even appreciate it or won't admit it. But don't be misled by what the tidal zones and the coastlines were actually like. Don't be deceived by the fact that the ocean was full of life before this happened. No, Dana, you got to go. It's like finding a bear or a moose hunting. You got to go and look for it. No, you don't. It's the coastline. Morons out there talking about stuff like that. Literally idiots. No, Dana, it's like going bear hunting. You got to look all day to find a starfish, or find 6,500 invertebrates without the backbones, or 600 algae, or 78 species of sea anemones, or the entire coastline that was just a smorgasbord of marine life and the 4.2 million other species in the ocean. No, Dana's like most hunting. You got to go out and look all day or a week to find one. That's the people that are coming out and trying to say it's not true, what I talk about. As if all these headlines doesn't explain it. Attack me, forget about all the headlines. Attack me, demonize me, vilify me, smear me, ridicule me. But don't talk about the stuff I talk about. Don't talk about the context. Don't talk about the information. As if the damage above the ground is not enough to worry about. The walls are cracked below the ground of Fukushima reactor building. I mean, the whole country was split apart. It was lifted up 6 or 7, 8 feet, and then dropped, rather, and then moved to the northeast another 6 or 7 feet, and just tore everything up. And people don't want to understand that, because it's easier to believe a lie than it is to believe the factual information. Just deal with it. And I get that. I don't hold a grudge. But I do have to come out and counter it. What am I supposed to do? Just sit there and take the lies and the nonsense? No. You can if you want. Knock your socks off. But just don't waste my time, okay? I'm covering real information. I've got time to all the nonsense that I get thrown my way. People won't critical think on their own. People are not able to look it up on their own, sort it out on their own, and just jump to wild conclusions. I show you documentation after documentation for the whole presentations, to really, so you can wrap your mind around it. Come to the actual proper reality that we got an issue and we better deal with it, instead of lying about it and deceiving ourselves about it and pretending that it's not an event, and that the nuclear industry is right, that it's like a banana in a potato chip and walking in the sunshine, like they've been claiming for 70 years when you have an accident. But if the terrorists get it, then it's a dirty bomb. If the terrorists get it, then we got to lose all our rights and freedom. If the terrorists get it, we got to go kill an entire country and displace millions of people. If the terrorists get it, then it's okay to wage endless wars, because the terrorists might get it. But if you have an accident, it's shut up, it's like a banana. Shut up, it's like walking in the sunshine. Shut up, it's like flying across the country. Blah, 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 blah. Lake Barrett, he should be prosecuted for war crimes. He's a disgusting maggot. He's a parasite upon our society. Lake Barrett, he's a maggot, folks. He's a nuclear scientist who come out and continues to come out and downplay anything nuclear, and yet he's supposed to be an expert. He has an education, knows the difference. He has caused the death of thousands of people because of 3 Mile Island. They cover that up, and they're still covering it up. It's just what they do. The whole industry is demented and sick and twisted and out of control. And they're soulless and heartless and spineless turds. Radioactive iodine 7.5 million times. But iodine is a tracer. They won't tell you that. Never, ever, under any circumstances will you find that in a headline. Under any of these headlines will you hear the word tracer. Go look up the studies. You'll understand why I call it a tracer. U.S. West Coast to be hard hit by Fukushima ocean contamination. Pacific Gyre transporting radioactive material to America. See, they actually downplay the way it works too on top of that. But they allude to it, say, because they know that people are working on trying to work it out on their own. Study shows Fukushima nuclear pollution becoming more concentrated. It's washing off the mountains back down to the coastline on top of that. Comes in and hits your coast with rain. That all, not all of it, but water runs back to your coastline, then it flows along your coastline. That's how it works. Ocean currents keeping radiation from being diluted. You can't dilute radiation. You can't even get rid of it by pouring battery acid on it. You can't even incinerate it and get rid of it at 3,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. You're just liberating it back into the environment. There's so much of it. A gram of it is 88 curies. It's 88 times 37 billion atoms. And an atom can give you a cancer 10, 20, 30 years. It's in your body. Your body's attacking it endlessly for 30 years until it puts up a big tumor. Radiation in Fukushima. But meanwhile, there's 1,800 diseases, autoimmune deficiencies, illnesses, injuries that'll show up before it. Alzheimer's, dementia, autism, diabetes, heart, liver, lung, respiratory, pituitary, adrenaline gland. Like all these illnesses that'll show up and do show up and have showed up and are notoriously well known, but they don't bother mentioning it. No, there's no effects from radiation. And then there's, no, I don't see any increases in cancer, Dina. No, because cancer takes a long time to manifest, you moron. You dipstick. You useless tool. Get out of your mom's basement. Leave her alone. Let them have their own life. Stop stealing everything from them. Stop sucking them dry all your life. Be a human. Get out there and get a job. Find your own way in life instead of working for the nuclear PR firms and wrecking people to make $1 and pretending you're somebody special to your friends or your family. Pretending that you're moral high ground. Pretending that you're a human like everybody else. Fuck you. Fuck you and the ground you walk on. Fuck you. You cowards. Cowards on this planet. You stupid fucking idiot nuclear scientists. You scum fuckers at the nuclear PR firms. You useless, spineless turds in the fucking media. Fuck you. Fuck you and everything that's associated with you. You cowards. You fucking traitors. You fucking misery machines. Anyway, I got that off my chest. It's an environmental disaster. Radioactive levels in the ocean hundreds of times. If only it was that. But normal. See, once again, you're taking normal emitters that can't mutate a fruit fly and equating it with something that'll mutate everything on the fucking planet. Stupid people, educated people. They know what they're doing. Now they word it to tell you a fucking lie. And because who's going to call them out? Media's not going to call itself out, and the media don't have to answer to anybody. No, just ignore everybody and pretend that, oh, we talked to a scientist, yeah? Who's his fucking name? Lake Barrett? Pricks from Woods Hole? Or the University of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada? These fucking lowlifes? In the history of science, we've never seen anything like the Fukushima plume heading across the Pacific. Why, you thinking it wasn't already there? After 45 days in 2013? It's already been there for a couple of years. You fucking morons. People better start fighting for your lives. Start fighting for your future. Start fighting for your right to have a fucking future. Start fighting for the other 8 million species that are on this fucking planet. It's your fucking fault that you lie there and take it all day. That you pretend that you got, that, oh, you know, we'll just turn to the activists and let them deal with it. You better deal with it. You better shut down all these nuclear plants now. Right this year, 2016. End it fucking now. End it now. Didn't sacrifice 6 million people to get into fucking Fukushima. Kill 6 million people to get in and shut that fucking thing down. We got to kill 6 million people to come in and stop these things. We got to kill them. That's just the way it is. They're not going to die, just pile up dead bodies, but they'll die within a few years. We got to run them through the plant so they get we share the dose over 6 million people. We're going to run into homeless and destitute and the immigrants at some point. And by then it's going to be too fucking late. We got to come to terms with what we've done. We can't keep pretending it never happened. We can't keep pretending there's a couple of days releases from number 2 in the models, and that's all we got to worry about. We got to worry about what's not in the model. We got to worry about the things they don't put in the fucking model. We got to worry about the things they never told us. We got to worry about that mixed oxide fuel at 2 million times. We got to worry about what's on my Geiger counter over there. They throw the food away in Germany at 5 becquerels. Look what I got here in my own fucking home. I descended into swearing and cursing and kicking and screaming and whining because the death of the Pacific is not a joke to me. It's not a joke to anybody else in the near future. And everybody on this planet is going to be, why was there so few Danas on this planet? Where were all the scientists? Where were all the academics? Where was all the media? They were busy burying it. They were busy stabbing me in the fucking back. They were busy shitting on me and puking on me and coming out with other ways to lie about it. They were busy tricking you. They were busy manipulating you. They were fucking busy killing you and your loved ones and your friends and your family and hiding what happened and pretending that it's harmless and innocuous and benign like bananas or potato chips or water and sunshine. And you won't fucking hold them accountable. You won't help me. No, you know, all this time and I still don't have the power to come after these fuckers. Arnie Gunnison, millions of dollars. Helen Keller got millions of dollars. David Suzuki, millions of dollars every fucking year. These people get millions. I'm lucky to get a few hundred. And, you know, what am I going to do? What have I always done? What was I doing long before this? What have I been doing for many decades? I was telling another narrative that the media didn't tell you. It was actually based up on the information, the documentation, and was a proper narrative, a well thought out narrative. I'm begging for this planet to rally behind somebody, and that's the wrong thing for me to do. I got to be more assertive. You got to rally behind me, because I'm going to bring you that documentation, that information, and I can only do it when I'm raising enough money to be able to buy the equipment to compete against these fucking people. At some point, the world is going to realize who I am and what I do and the way I work and the things I accomplish, and they're going to be so fucking. There's going to be so much sorrow that they never gave me that opportunity. There's going to be so much heartache because they never put me in that position. They didn't stand behind me. They didn't make it happen. Because I can't do it on my own. I can't do any more than what I've done. I couldn't possibly, and I'm proud of that. I have no worries. I have no regrets. I have a longing to do more. I can't possibly do more than what I do. I couldn't drive myself. I couldn't push myself any harder than what I push myself. But if I was able to become a real organization with funding, I can hire a crew and train the crew from scratch. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't hire people in the field because I can't fucking trust anybody. And because the conflicts, they're not learning properly, you have to train them from scratch. And that's fine because I'm a one-man show, but I need to put together a studio. I need to put together an office. I need to put together, Skype machines and put together interviews and put together releases and get out there into the community and do presentations. I need to be able to travel. I need to be able to get out there and do research. I need to be a real operation, and that is probably never going to fucking happen. I don't know if it's because I don't push it hard enough, or is it because people out there that are in a position can't find me or are able to donate and build this operation and make it happen are being lied to so much they can't see through that nonsense to find someone like me and understand there's another narrative, a real narrative, a proper narrative, and that we done 9,000 headlines for it went on the ocean for 260 days and 15,000 miles. We show an extinction event. I guess what I'm saying is, for Christ's sakes, please support me. Don't forget me. Don't put it off. Don't ignore it any longer. You can donate it to nuclear proctologists. We've been doing this for a couple of years. No one's ever been disappointed. It's legitimate. You can donate through PayPal at danadurnford@hotmail.com. You'll find links under this video. A Beautiful Girl by Dana, my YouTube channel. And this fight is real. They didn't arrest me and demonize me and vilify me in the media for something to do. They done that in order to try to slow me down. They knew they couldn't stop me outside of killing me. And to kill me now will turn me into something they don't want to, a rallying. That makes a lot of sense. See, if they were to kill me and then I was to explode onto the internet or to the world, my documentation will always stand that test of time. With what we had available and what we were able to accomplish is what we went with. And we were attacked relentlessly and still are, and yet we still are able to hold our heads high. We're still able to look back and not have any kind of, did we do the right thing, or did we try hard enough, or did we this or did we that? No, we done everything we were supposed to do. We took it at every level and every stage, and what happened, of course, even the alternative media for the most part ignored us and came out with apologists every single time. Never putting another narrative out there, never bringing in another narrative in this. Any other story, they bring in multiple narratives. When it comes to man-made radiation, nuclear accidents, particularly Fukushima, you'll never see them bringing me up into the main alternative media. I'm not saying people don't write about me. I'm not saying people don't talk about me. I'm not saying people don't try to push me out there. I'm just saying the big ones out there should work harder, should try, should understand the significance by now. There's no excuses for it 5 years after Fukushima not to be able to comprehend it. How many hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos, 1-hour presentations have I put out there again? All I do is I worry all day, I learn all day, I study, I research all day, I double check everything all the time. And I come out with these videos in desperation, looking for help, looking for support, looking to share that information, looking to educate people. I really truly don't know what else I'm supposed to do with what I got. I do know what I can do if I was set free. If a big donor was to step up and donate a few $1 million each year to this operation, we'd eat these people, and we'd come up with solutions, we'd come up with mitigation, we'd come up with a way forward, and we'd implement it. We'd come up with alternative energy, and we would implement it. We would force the issues out there. We'd be able to handle that. We'd be able to lobby that. We'd be able to control that. But just Dana by himself sitting in the middle of nowhere in Pavisht, I will do what I can do. That's all I can do, though, right? And it's not right. This planet deserves this opportunity, and I'm trying. That's all I can do. So hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody next chance we get. I know I missed Rince's show the night I was asleep, so not much I can do about it. Hugs for everybody. It'll be cooler for the next couple of weeks, so we'll get more footage. Take care, folks.